Okay, so I'm going to show you here what this is, a file that I've put up onto Moodle for you called AshDieback Disease Incomplete. So it just has the basic form of your presentation. So as I said, try as much as possible to minimize your text. It always makes better presentations, and maximize the use of your images. So for all of your topics, they are very visual. There's always going to be a visual element to them, whether you're showing statistics on a graph or showing the form of whatever object it might be, the look of it, the wingspan, the height, the area that it takes, whatever it might be. So you can use whatever images that you can find online. That's perfectly fine. So for this, I'm going to flick over and back so I can remember what I did with the animations, and I'll replicate each of those on PowerPoint now for this video. So first thing that you need to do is set up your presentations. So if you're in a new presentation, so if you're in Microsoft PowerPoint and you're starting off with a new presentation, generally they'll have these title and subtitle ones. So where you put in the name of the presentation and whatever subtitle details that you want. To add in a new slide, Control and M is the shortcut to this window. Okay, so here, usually the ones that you work with are these title and content. So when you put a new title and content, there's my second one. So here's my, whatever my title is, and here's my minimal text. If you want then to put an image onto this, if I have that open, I'll just open a new window. So in here I have, now come back out. If I put in an ash tree and I go into images, and I can use my snipping as same as always. You can go into your snipping tool, and I'm saying, right, well I want to put in a new snip of this ash tree, barks, leaves and guides, so whatever this image might be. For the purpose of this, I'm not too concerned about your referencing. That was graded as part of your Microsoft Word, your research report. If you have text then, and you want to add an image, if I put in Control V here to paste my image, it'll pop it in onto the screen. So you can increase the size of it, decrease the size of it, change the orientation of it, and so on. So usually you get a nice straight lines on it. When you start moving your image, you get these, see these red lines? So that shows you that will be in line with the top of the text. Over here you have a margin, don't pass by it. On the right you have a margin, don't pass by it, and the same with down at the end. So just make sure your image sits within the margins of the page. So when you have whatever image it might be, you can add on your images and you can overlap them, because you know that when we create our animations, it's easy to get one image to fade out and the next image to appear. So you could have one PowerPoint screen with 10 images, whatever it might be. So you can decide on what that's going to be. So if I wanted another new screen slide, I could go down there and put in another title and slide. And I might decide, well, actually, I'm going to go back up here because this has some big long piece of text. For Waterford, TUT of Technology. I can't see it, so I can't see if I'm spelling it right. Anyway, and now I'm saying because of that, I can't see it. What I could decide to do is I'm actually going to change the layout and put in this to content. It just means that your text and your graphic will be visible. So if I click on that, it changes this now. So here in the background, if I just move this image out of the way, you've got two separate areas and you can put your content into those then. So you could put that, maybe this space is for my image. Maybe this space needs to be minimized, so pull it over, make it a bit smaller so that it's not overlapping on top of the text. So I could increase it a bit more because I can have it, or maybe even if it was had a fill color on my text box, I could make my text white and I could change the fill color if I go into format, and I can have that fill being red or something that stands out. Maybe it should be in front of this. Again, you have these bring forwards and send backwards. So there it sits out on top of it. Yes, very ugly looking, but it's just to show you. So looking at your own, incomplete, where is it? This one here. When I go into this, I had my large image. So let's see, what have I got here? you have this select pane here, and you can click on selection pane. It just means it opens up and shows you all the different components that you've got on your page. Oval 11 is, you can see it's down here, the blue one. Oval 10 is this, the red colored one, red colored legend. Text box 9 is the full text box. So if I'm creating an animation, I want those to all look like they're going to appear at the same time. Like in Microsoft Excel, you'll need to hold down, so I can select one singularly, but if I want to select more than one, you need to use your control key. So I wanted, for this, we had the large image, so I can't click on it. What's happening? What you can do is just use this selection pane to make sure you're selecting the correct one. So if I go down here and I can see, oh, picture 2, that's the one I want to put my animation on. So when this image appears, or when this title appears, I'm going to, this is too big, so I'm going to move that over to the left hand side to make it a bit smaller, and I'm going to select picture 2, and I'm going to have that appear on my page. So in under your animations, I in general leave this animations pane turned on, because that's the one you're using a lot. So I have the correct image, which is my larger image of Ireland, and I want that to appear on the screen. So let's say we'll have it float in, and instead of waiting for a mouse click, I'm going to say after previous, which means that when this text box comes on, this will automatically come on. I don't always have to rely on clicking the mouse for something to happen. So now I describe and I say whatever, and I'm going to say I want this one now to exit. So this animation, I'm going to get it to exit. So if I got it to, what was my animation there? I got it to float up. So I'm going to use a float out then. So just to keep it consistent, I'm going to have it. Then it's going to exit. And instead of on click, you could choose with previous or after previous, just your timings. So I want to control when it exits. So yes, I'm going to leave it on click. So when I click, that will exit, but maybe automatically I'll get this zoomed in image, so you can resize it. It's just an image. So I'll get this to appear in. So maybe this one can fly in. So we'll just give it our fade in, whatever. We'll try a fade in. So if that fades in then, so the larger image exits, and instead of waiting for the mouse to click, I'm going to say after the big image has exited, this one will fade in. And I'm going to also get my text box, plus I know I have more objects on it. So I'm going to hold down my control, click on the red button, hold down control and click on the blue button, and I will get all of those to shape in, wipe in, whatever. You can decide whatever you want. Random bars their way in. So I'll click on random bars, and that you can see over here, this comes up after previous. So large one exits, zoomed in appears, and your legend appears after that without me needing any mouse intervention. I don't need to click the mouse every time for a new animation to appear. So am I happy with that? Not sure. Check it. Go into slideshow and click on from current slide. So there's my image appearing on. That stays there, gives me a chance to talk about it. When I click on it, I expect it to exit. Then I want the zoomed in image of the southeast, and then the legend with the two little coloured dots on it. So I click on it, that exits, a bit fast maybe. Then the zoomed in image appears and my legend isn't appearing. So until I click the mouse, so I need to edit that. Press escape to get back out of your preview, back into it. So this legend, I'm going to see here, go back into my animation. Here's my problem. It was waiting for a click. I'm going to tell that after previous. And also this larger image went at high speed, so I'm going to get that to calm itself down, so it can maybe take a little bit longer to exit. And now back into slideshow, let's have a look. There's my thing that appears on. I can talk about it, click on it, and it should exit. There, it's a bit more respectable looking, and now everything is appearing as it should be. Great. Press escape. That's that window done. This lad here then, the image is quite big and it's overlapping on top of it. It doesn't really matter for the moment. I can just make it a bit smaller, and we'll sort it out in a minute. So I wanted all of this text to go one after another. Back into my animations, add an animation, and maybe they can all fly in. So you can check the first one there is on click, and then the other ones is with previous. That would happen. With previous means when I go to current slide and I click on it, they'll all appear at the same time. If I want them one after another, I can tell it. The second one goes after the previous, and the last one goes after the second one. And the difference there is this, from the current side, first one, then second one, then third one. And again, you can decide on the speed of those using your duration. Experiment. Okay, so they've appeared and now I want them to disappear. I need them to exit. So I'm going to click on the text box, the whole thing gets selected, and I'm going to add an exit animation of fly out. So that they'll all go flying out. And again, you can decide, do you want them all, there's on click, on click, on click. That would be kind of annoying because the slideshow then will have them, they appear onto it, grand, all automatic. Then I click on it, the first one goes, I have to click and I have to click to get the second and third one. So again, these exits, I'm going to get deciduous. Maybe when they're exiting, they can all go at the same time. So they're going to go with each other. So with previous, and then a little check there. They appear on 1, 2, 3, grand, talk, 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 press it, and they all exit at the same time. When they exit, just maybe at the same time, I want this image to appear back into my image, and I'll get this to appear. Grand, we'll do an appear one. So after that, the image appears. If you're in the wrong order, let's say for example, if I had slideshow and I go into this and they all come onto it, that's lovely, and I press that, oh whoa, the image is there, and then I press it again and then they exit in the background. You can just click and drag once you know which ones you're talking about. So if I select that, it comes up saying picture 2. If I select the little squirrel, it says picture 4, which doesn't appear in my animations yet because I don't have any animations. So picture 2, I want that to appear after these ones have exited. So I'm going to click and drag that down to the end. So picture 2 is going to come after the previous. So they will exit and then the image will appear. And then the squirrel will appear. So he can appear as well. That'll be grand. You can change it. So instead of being on click, I'll say after. So we're minimizing. We're trying to make it run more seamlessly. And finally then for this little guy, we want him to run up the tree. So another animation that you can have is these motion paths. If you want them just to move left, right, up, down, diagonally, you can use your lines. Your arcs do what they say, and same with your turns. For this, I'm going to do a custom shape. Now my mouse is this little cursor. I want him to start there, to run onto the grass, down to the end. You can click as many times as you want. He's going to climb up this branch, and he's going to finish here. So I'm going to double click, and it just gives me a little preview of where he'll go. Okay, and just make sure again, decide, and you want it when you click on it that he moves. So maybe I might be saying, there's my current slide. I'm going to talk about all of these, tallest, deciduous, when it can sprout and start growing again. As you might know, if you have ash trees around, they appear everywhere. Then it exits and the other one appears automatically along with your squirrel. You can decide this maybe is after the big tree. And when I press, do I want to press the mouse or do I want him to go off by himself? In this case, I have him as the click in the mouse. So I'm going to click and there he runs off up there. Press escape to get back out in my preview. So I've decided, well, actually, what did I decide on there as I was talking? Instead of it clicking or him appearing. So I want him to appear after the previous, that's fine. And I want him, instead of waiting for me to click, I'm going to say after he appears, he heads off. But again, I can say slow yourself down. Give yourself a delay of a second as well. So now it looks like this. There's comes on, there they exit, this comes on, he gives a second and then he goes a bit slower up. So you can decide on your timings. Escape to get back out to my image. Here, this is definitely the most text that you might want. If you have a bullet point that you want to delete, you can just select it and delete it, the same as what you had always. Then make a bit of space with your other ones. You could decide, okay, well I'm going to have that appear, so I'm not going to put an animation. That will be there when I open my screen. This one then, I want to put an animation that it's going to fade in. So that will fade in maybe after the previous, and maybe decide on a delay. If you wanted to wait for 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever it might be, and then it will appear, okay? Maybe then this one will come on. So again, I'll select first noted in, and I'll get that to fade in. So you can see over in your animations. So that will fade in at whatever details you want. Your images then, you have the same as what we had the whole time. You decide on which picture you want to appear first. Choose your picture, have it fly in, then maybe have it fly out. Choose the second one. So that's picture 3 done. Picture 2, choose to have it fly in, then choose to have it to